Hello there, you amazing people. Today I'm filming a video about how you can accept yourself and feel empowered when you have a neurodivergent condition. This is really important as those of us with neurodivergent conditions may sometimes judge ourselves and feel frustrated at ourselves for things we can't control, and that can lower our self-esteem. When we feel empowered, however, we can stick up for ourselves, advocate for ourselves, and ask for help when we need it. And these things can greatly improve our quality of life, so it is really important to learn how to feel confident and accept yourself. Before I move on, yes, I'm aware that my hair is very fluffy. I don't know how to fix that. But yes, the first thing that may help you feel more confident and empowered and accept yourself is knowing that there are famous people and influential people with the same condition as you. That can be empowering for some people because you can have like a role model, someone to look up to. But I do also think it's really important for me to say that there is more to success than being famous. But there are a lot of people with neurodivergent conditions who have made a massive positive impact in the world. So some famous people with Tourette's, let's start off. There's Casper Lee, who is a YouTuber. Billie Eilish, who is a singer. Dan Aykroyd, who is in Ghostbusters. Lele Pons, who is a social media influencer. Evie Meg, a TikTok star and author. There is Tim Howard, who is a soccer star. There is Sweet Anita, who is a Twitch streamer. There is Samuel Johnson, Dr. Samuel Johnson, who wrote one of the first ever English dictionaries. There are people with Tourette's who are famous and have made a difference to the world, and that can be quite empowering to some people to know that someone they look up to may have the same condition as them and may have had very similar experiences. Famous autistic people include Dan Aykroyd again from Ghostbusters. He's got both Tourette's and autism. There's Charles Darwin and Albert Einstein, who were suspected to be autistic. There's Chris Packham, who is the presenter on a nature show. There is Courtney Love, who is a singer and songwriter who is married to Kurt Cobain. Kurt Cobain was like in Nirvana. And there's Anne Hegarty from The Chase. These are people who are autistic. The second activity, which may help you or a loved one accept themselves, is creating a poster or even a t-shirt with quotes about the condition on, and just empowering quotes in general as well. Because some people may find it useful to read quotes about their condition, ways in which other people explain it and describe it, ways in which people feel empowered by it, what people have learned from it, and make that into a poster and then put the poster up. That can be quite empowering for some people to look at, and reading the quotes can help a person feel very understood. As well as this, I said you could make a t-shirt, and that's something I did when I was younger. So I had a plain white t-shirt and some fabric pens, and I went on to a Facebook page called Tourette Syndrome Awareness Movement and got some quotes off there and wrote them onto the t-shirt, and that was just amazing because it made me understand myself more, feel like I could relate to others, and feel empowered to stick up for myself as well, which was very good. And I actually wore that t-shirt to Kids Club, and it really opened up conversations about my condition. And before that, I hardly ever spoke about it. I was ashamed of it, and I didn't want people to know about it. So that was actually very transformative, and that is the moment that I got the confidence really to speak about my condition more and not hide it. Another thing that can be helpful for some people is to make a plan on how they can advocate for themselves. And this can be really helpful for some people because, you know, there are instances where people may make comments about your condition and say nasty things, and it can be helpful to have a plan. For example, what would you do if a substitute teacher tells you to stop ticking? What would you do if a teacher sends you out of class for ticking? What would you do if someone makes a horrible comment? Things like that. It can help to have a plan for that so that you're not just stunned on the spot in the moment, because I've been like that an awful lot. Doesn't help. What helps is when you actually know how to handle the situation. So, for example, to manage substitute teachers who don't understand, the person could make a little letter and put it in their pencil case and take it to every class. And it could be a letter that explains like their condition, how people should react and not react, and what they wish the substitute teacher understood about it. And then if there's a substitute teacher, you just give them the letter to read and then ask for it back afterwards, so you can continue that cycle and give it to who needs to see it. But that can be really helpful for some people, and that is something I'd recommend because I did that. And for example, teaching a person to stick up for themselves. So if a teacher sends them out of class for dimming or ticking, being able to report that is important, because the teachers should not be getting away with discrimination. So yeah, sticking up for yourself is really, really important. And knowing your legal rights as well, just how if the school does not provide reasonable adjustments, then that goes against the Equality Act, which is disability discrimination, things like that. Watching documentaries can be quite empowering for some people, because you can see people who have been through similar experiences to you and who are getting on with their lives. And again, that's another way that people can get role models. However, you do have to be kind of conscious as to what sort of documentary you're watching, because I know some of the Tourette's documentaries, they edit it to basically make fun of the person with Tourette's and exploit them, and the person with Tourette's very likely didn't sign up for that and when they started doing the documentary. But unfortunately, editors can do that sort of thing, and kind of end up making fun of it, and that's not empowering, that's disempowering. And in some circumstances, an editor may kind of dumb it down and cut out what the person with a disability says to make it seem like just all lovely, inspirational, oh look, we saved this person, blah blah blah, when they're literally just giving an inaccurate portrayal of that person and of their condition. They are trying to make it seem a certain way that it's not. But there are some good documentaries still. Like, when I was younger, I watched a documentary about some people with Tourette's, and it was extremely empowering, because there was a guy on there who was extremely intelligent, they were extremely wise, extremely kind, and they were following their dreams and passions, and that is something that really inspired me and gave me a lot of confidence at a young age. I related to them an awful lot, and they gave me a lot of hope as well, and I think that's so important. Like, it made a big difference to my life, just that documentary. So that can be really helpful for some people. And also, films and documentaries made by people with the conditions can be helpful as well, because I remember that I was watching a documentary made by autistic people about autism, and it was nice to have someone to relate to, but also because they were sharing their experiences with like what helps them in life. And I got inspired by a guy who would do talks without shoes on, even though that's seen as sort of like atypical within society. He did it because that is what was best for him and his sensory needs, and that inspired me as well, knowing that I can do what works for me regardless of what others think. Some people also find it helpful to read books about their condition. Even for young children, this can help them. Like, when I was younger, I read a book called Hi, I'm Adam, and it was, I think, a 10-year-old boy's story with Tourette Syndrome, and that was very helpful because, again, I related to it a lot. I read it with my mum, and I, at that moment, understood myself a lot more, and that's really important. Otherwise, if we don't understand ourselves, we judge ourselves, and the judgments we place on ourselves are a lot worse if we don't understand what's really going on, and if we don't understand that we can't control these things. So I think it's important for a child to be educated about their condition, and to know that they're not alone and there is a name for it. When I was younger, I genuinely felt like I was one of the only ones, and I'm obviously not, I know that now, but that's why it's important to be able to help someone know that they're not alone and know that there are people like them. Some people also find it quite empowering to watch films about someone who has the condition they have. However, again, the whole issue with the media can be portrayed in an inaccurate way, can be portrayed in an inaccurate way, and that's not going to do any good. But sometimes there are films that actually do have a good portrayal. They can be hard to find, but there are some of them. For example, Front of the Class is a good one with Tourette's. It's a true story of a guy with Tourette's. But then there's another film that I absolutely adore. It's called The Road Within. It's about 3 characters, one with anorexia, one with OCD, and one with Tourette's. And I resonated with the character with Tourette's so much, not just because we both tick, but because our personalities were so similar. And that was very empowering for me to see a film character with such an eccentric personality and embracing that. That was amazing. So I do recommend that. And yeah, I think that can help some people watching those sorts of empowering films where there's a character who you can relate to and who gives you confidence. I think representation is really important for that. Attending support groups is another way in which people can learn to accept themselves, because in support groups you kind of get inspired by the other people there. I mean, I did anyway. Like, it was just amazing to see other people go through the same experiences, and I felt at home. It was like one place where I did not feel like an inconvenience. So I think support groups can be very, very helpful, and it's amazing to be able to relate to people, and that does give you a lot more confidence. And also, support groups often run some workshops, sometimes anyway they do. The one I went to did, so they can help you manage the condition as well and get life skills for that. So that can be very good as well. For young people with a condition, seeing adults with the same condition as them can be transformative because those adults can become role models for those young people. I have multiple adult role models in the Tourette's community, I have to say. I don't know if they know who they are, but I do have adult role models with a condition, even though I'm an adult now, but I met them when I wasn't an adult, so that's why. But yeah, that can make a big difference, and you kind of follow in their footsteps and learn from them, learn what they have learned from living with their condition. Online advocacy. Online advocacy can help you build confidence because you get used to speaking about your condition, but you can do it anonymously. When I first started raising awareness, I did it anonymously, but before that I would not speak to people about my condition. I was so ashamed of it. I even blocked my nan on my social media account when I first started raising awareness because I did not want her to see it. And I mean, she made me unblock her, but I mean, it's really helpful to speak about it online because you don't have the anxiety there as much necessarily as speaking to a person about it face to face. So it can be very helpful to speak about it online first of all, and anonymously as well. People don't know who you are. You're just venting, making positive impact and raising awareness, and that can be really, really helpful for some people. So online advocacy can be really good for some people, and we always need more advocates, honestly, we do, because awareness is so important.